Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the Commonwealth did its best to commemorate Pearl Harbor and everyone who fought in World War II yesterday. Plus, newspapers across the country are slowly disappearing and losing resources in the digital age.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 5:33 on Friday, December 8th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And Brandon, I said I went on a walk yesterday and it felt amazing. And I know you said it may get a little warmer today, so I'm excited about that.
Exactly. We may add a few clouds in a little bit later today, but it's going to be another fantastic day on tap. So it's a little bit on the cooler side this morning, but the good news is temperatures are actually going up, which is unusual. London Corbin Airport, not too much going on down that way this morning. As we continue our trek across the region, we're going to be seeing, again, the possibility for some temperatures that are in the 30s and 40s as you start the first part of your day. We're looking at some 20s out there, 229 over into Jonesville, or excuse me, Grundy, 28 in Jonesville, then everybody else is in the 30s and 40s. There's a lot of 40s out there this morning, so just be aware of that. Now, we were trying to split the difference because we've got temperatures all over the place, so let's just call it 38. Temperatures will go up quickly as we head into the afternoon hours thanks to some southwest winds, but sunset today at 5:15, and changes, they are coming. I have more on the full forecast coming up in a little bit. Olivia?
All right, thank you, Brandon. Yesterday marked the 82nd anniversary of Pearl Harbor, a day that folks across the country remember each year on December 7th, honoring the thousands of Americans lost when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. 107-year-old U.S. Navy veteran from Clay County, Oakley Hacker, says he remembers when it happened, and he fought in World War II, which followed the 1941 attack.
They hit us on a Sunday morning, December the 7th. I remember that. I remember boys that talked and said, well, we'll whip them in a week. It wasn't no week now. It's a rough war. If you're called, you have to go, and you want to do the best you can.
World War II ended in 1945. Hacker says he was on a naval ship when the U.S. dropped the atomic bomb on Japan, believing the ship was going to capsize from the bomb's power. And a Pearl Harbor commemoration event was held in Williamsburg at the courthouse yesterday. A wreath was laid at the Whitley County Veterans of All Wars. We were told about a dozen were in attendance to mark the moment. It was presented by Daughters of the American Revolution and Sons of the American Revolution. Research shows that 204 of the 3,143 counties in the U.S. are without any local newspaper. Kelsey Soto is sitting down with the new editor of the Lexington Herald Leader to talk about the digital shift of news gathering and sharing and how the community can continue to support their work.
But I need help.
A humble plea published in this weekend's newspaper. Richard Green, the new editor of the Lexington Herald Leader, writes, "We need your support to expand our coverage of local journalism."
We have so many great reporters right now, but not enough of them.
In his own words, there is no threat to the Herald Leader because they're a sound financial institution that dates back more than 150 years. But thanks to industry challenges, a digital shift, and in order to strengthen their community coverage, some additional dollars are needed to add specific positions.
So 3 different positions, you know, a very smart business economic development reporter that looks at those important stories regionally. We're not as aggressive as we need to be because we don't have enough reporters. And we do a fine job in areas I know we could do even better. So yes, you're right, investigative reporter to add to the ranks that we have. We should have another Metro columnist that tells the story of everyday residents of Lexington.
And the move isn't necessarily geared towards their loyal subscribers or longtime advertisers who already support the business. He says it's directed at philanthropic groups and large organizations who might be able to make a tax-deductible donation.
It's a recognition that I've got a newsroom that is very talented. It's dedicated and passionate about covering local news here. It's not as large as it needs to be, there are important stories that we haven't yet been able to get to.
He recognizes that the ask is great, but says so is the need. It's a chance to continue delivering this First Amendment freedom. In Lexington, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
Researchers estimate that by the end of 2024, 1/3 of all American newspapers will have disappeared since 2005. The West Virginia Enhanced 911 Council says there were 2 incidents last week that left multiple centers without service for hours. The organization is filing a complaint to the Public Service Commission against Frontier Communications. One of those outages was November 28th at Mingo County 911. The call center went silent for almost 9 hours after officials say a vandal cut a nearby Frontier fiber line and calls could not be rerouted to another county's call center. Officials say they want Frontier to provide a backup source for 911 centers so they will not lose service if a fiber line is cut. Frontier says they've seen a 70% uptick in copper wire thefts in West Virginia since 2021. A Somerset man is facing several charges stemming from an incident that happened in August. Wednesday, deputies responded to North Hart Road in Somerset. Through an investigation, deputies learned 39-year-old Christopher Shepard worked at Lakeside Memorial Gardens. An excavator and a Gator UTV was stolen from the property in August. Shepard was taken into custody and booked in the Pulaski County Detention Center. A Central Kentucky man was arrested in Laurel County facing multiple charges. The arrest occurred Wednesday at around 5 p.m. in a business parking lot about 10 miles away from London. 40-year-old Anthony Shoemaker of Nicholasville was driving a motorcycle when deputies with the sheriff's office noticed it did not have a license plate on it. After pulling him over, deputies discovered Shoemaker had suspected meth on him, as well as a glass meth pipe with residue. A Corbin man is behind bars after he was found hiding in someone else's basement. The incident happened back on November 25th. Corbin PD received a call from a concerned homeowner reporting a prowler looking into vehicles. After a police officer conducted a home search, he found 42-year-old Charles Durham hiding in the basement. Durham was charged with third-degree burglary. He is being held in the Whitley County Detention Center. Kentucky has its first documented case of chronic wasting disease. This is a fatal neurologic disease that affects deer, elk, and other species in the deer family. It was found in a deer harvested by a hunter in Ballard County last month. And that's in far western Kentucky. State Fish and Wildlife officials say they are carefully considering their next steps, and they always advise you not to eat meat from game animals that appear sick or in poor condition. Winter illnesses like flu, COVID, and RSV are spreading in Kentucky. Officials at UK Healthcare say they are seeing a sharp increase in respiratory illnesses, especially cases of RSV. Right now, 21 patients are hospitalized with RSV, and that number is increasing. Doctors say they are also dealing with a shortage to treat the illness.
The manufacturer does not have enough supply nationally, so we are seeing shortages of that product. It's really designed for younger kids, the first RSV season, to try to protect them.
Doctors remind parents to make sure your children are washing their hands and keep them home if they are sick to help stop the spread of illnesses. North Point Academy in Pike County is pointing folks to its gym basement, where a new thrift store hopes to bring in more funds to help students have a year to remember. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from some of the students minding the mission.
A thrift store organized and operated by a class full of students.
We've came so far from it being such a big mess in here, and now it looks like this.
The Jobs for America's Graduates program at North Point Academy created a space on campus to give back to the community.
It gives me very many opportunities. When you go into a job, you can put it on your resume. You can do very many different things with that. And here I feel like we're helping people, especially with Christmas things. Not a lot of people can afford to do you know, a big Christmas.
With every sale raising money for the school.
It gives back to us. You know, it lets us do fun things that other schools do.
Students run the store's operations, building their resumes and getting a taste of reality.
In a traditional classroom setting, you're sitting there, you're doing book work, you know, but here you're kind of more hands-on. You're doing stuff, you're working together as a team. There's a lot of behind the scenes of the store, you know.
Allowing them to discover their strengths and find where they fit in the process, from stocking and sales to staging the shelves.
A lot of stuff was donated and I took it and turned it into everything you see, basically.
Doing it all firsthand.
It gives me opportunities.
To offer secondhand finds. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The store will be open Fridays from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. starting with a Christmas sale today. The program has a partnership with United Helping Hands, which once operated out of the same space behind North Point Academy. Coming up, Netflix is bringing its TV shows to reality as they build replica sets for others to enjoy.
Warming trend on the way today, and then we're going to see a hard drop with a weekend cold front toward the end of it. I'll have the latest forecast in about 3 minutes.